a long time ago, somebody said to me, you can have everything you want, but not all at once. Her name was Kay Bush. She's a lovely woman. And I think about that. Like, I don't know that I get balance in a day very often. Sometimes I kill it as a wife or as a broker or as a mom, or my health and wellness is on point. So I'm always looking at it like, how do I get balance over a lifetime? Hi, this is Meg Heritage with another episode of Positivity in Practice. Today, I am here with my friend Kelly Larson, and we're going to talk a little bit about the retail space in Grand Haven and how she has grown multiple successful businesses and also been an amazing mom and wife and philanthropist. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Megan. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited you're here.
Well, get me to come and talk. I'm like, okay, what about?
All right,
let's show up. Let's talk.
I love it.
Especially Grand Haven and positivity, two of my favorite things.
I know. I love that about you. And you've been that way since the inception of my career here and been such a great mentor and supporter and friend.
Well, thank you.
I want to know the story of ice cream. How did we jump into the ice cream business?
I started in ice cream. I like to say it was my first job when I was 15, but I actually picked blueberries for a day and a half, like everybody else around here. And my actual first real job was sanding boats. And I walked in the first day, and the guy looked at me and said, I wanted a guy. And I lasted like 4 days before he got me fired. But it's welcome to, I'm just old enough that really did happen, which I thought was kind of funny because I'm in the generation we can do anything and we will do anything. Yeah. And I get fired because I'm a girl, but whatever. And so I applied to Temptations, which was brand new. It was on the boardwalk. And I applied because I wanted to hang out and be cool. It was the happening spot to be. So I got hired when I was 15, and the owners then started another store on the backside, a yogurt store. I followed them for a couple of years, and who they sold Temptations to, I heard, was looking for a partner. So I went off to college and told my parents, well, maybe you should buy it. We could run it. It's not that hard, right? And so while I was at school, they bought it, and I worked for them in college over the summers. And then out of college, I sold life insurance for a year, which is, you didn't know any of this?
I didn't know that. No, not that part.
And I worked for George DeVries at Northwestern Mutual in town, and he is a former educator and tennis coach and all of that. Speaking of positive people, he's one of the top 5 people of my life in terms of guiding me and teaching me. But to be on commission sales selling life insurance when you're 22 is not a really great career choice. Your friends don't want to talk about dying. They don't have any money. I hit up everyone, family and friends. And then a year later, Skoops came available for sale. And my parents said to me, why don't you come back and work in ice cream? And so I did. And Eric was still in school at the time. So I went back and got my master's while he was finishing up his bachelor's. And we've kind of grown and taken different opportunities over those next 10 years until we opened Sweet Temptations.
Okay, so the degree is in what and from where, the first one?
Well, I graduated from Northwestern in Evanston in human development and social policy with a concentration in organizational studies. Okay, so I went for chemical engineering and lived by the frats, and so that was just not the right fit for me. And so they didn't believe in undergrad business. So it was very liberal arts, little bit about a lot of things.
They meaning Northwestern? Okay.
Yeah. And they felt like you needed to be more well-rounded as an undergrad. So I did that. And my senior year, I had an internship with the Northwestern Mutual office in Chicago. And I liked the guys. I liked the lifestyle. I liked what they did. Again, it just wasn't a good fit for my life. And then I went to Grand Valley and got my MBA.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And so Eric is your husband.
Eric's my husband. We met when I was 22. We got married when we were 22.
That's crazy.
It doesn't happen, right? Babies.
Well, not as much anymore, I guess, right? I always laugh when people, Jack actually said to me, my 14-year-old this morning on the way to school, you had us late. And I was like, what?
You're an old mom.
He's like, you didn't have Henry until you were 35. And I was like, well, I got a bachelor's degree and then I got a graduate degree and we struggled a little bit with infertility.
Yep.
And like, it took me a hot minute to get you and your brother here. And then he was kind of adding up how old I would be when he was 40. And I was like, stop.
I don't even
just
know.
Stop.
My miracle baby turns 22 in December. And I'm like, yeah, I was your age when I got married. No, you're not ready.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how my parents let me.
You have an only.
I have an only.
And I'm an only.
Yep.
And so I've watched her trajectory. Amazing. And now she just got into law school.
She did. She applied to 8. We've heard from 1 so far, and it was a yes. So knock on wood. It doesn't look like ice cream in her future, but that's okay.
Well, you never know, right?
She tells me maybe she'll own them, but she doesn't want to work in them.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, I'll let you know when I get that figured out.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with Jim Lombardo in, the pizza places and all of that stuff. I'm like, I feel like everybody loves the idea of having a restaurant. And then when you actually realize and have worked inside of retail or inside of restaurants, what it actually is like.
Yeah.
You think you're like front of the house, right? You're just going to be like, hi. And for me, it's like watching Selling Sunset or that kind of thing. Like,
it's not all glamour, no.
No, it does not look like that.
Rothio and I had a conversation yesterday. She owns a boutique right next to Fortino's.
Yes,
and this
love her.
woman is just together, right? She's always made up. She has great outfits on, and I am not. And we were having a conversation about makeup yesterday. And I actually saw something on TikTok that attractive women earn 25 to 30% more than average-looking women, and I was like, really? Yeah, and she was like, well, you have to be put together. People think you are successful when you look successful.
I agree. This is her dress.
We all love Forthio,
right? And I do think my dad would say that. Actually, he would say, "Well, I would buy a new suit. Like and it was a good way for me to build confidence. Maybe that's a thing for you." I feel like. There is, when people can't get ready. A while ago, I had a client that their wife was like, they were getting a divorce, and he's like, she won't even get the trash off the curb. And she just looks disheveled. And I think that sometimes the outward appearance is a representative of inward chaos.
Yes.
So I do find, I'm like, that's depression. And he was like, what do you mean? It's laziness. And I'm like, no, it's not.
There's more there, yes.
Right. Like getting up and showering and brushing your teeth and brushing your hair and going and doing the things can sometimes give us that. So I want to talk about Fortino's.
Okay.
Because for me, watching this, trajectory, my children want to work for you. My child, Henry, would throw away a free ice cream token and then head down the street and have me purchase him ice cream from Sweet Temptations because early on he could tell the difference.
I love that.
I know. He's diehard.
He's my number 1 fan.
Everybody cries. Well, and now Jack, as soon as you close Skoops, we drove there. You told me 15 times when you were going to close, and we drove there one night, and Jack was just like, oh, this is so sad to me. So all of the ice cream made sense, and then all of a sudden we're going to do Fortino's. How does that happen?
I know. It still boggles my mind as well. I think I was cursed by Aunt Rita, honestly. That is what happened. So they wanted to retire. They started to think about it. They put together a short list of people that they thought might want to buy the store, and they approached my family. And we passed. We said, we already have a job. And it was me mostly because my parents are right now 77 and 78. So this was 10 years ago. And I was like, you guys don't have the runway, and it has to be something that I want and I can do. And so I looked at it and thought, I don't know how I can do that. That's you're buying yourself a job is what that looks like in a retail opportunity. So, went about my way and, was watching and interested to see what happened. And they didn't find the right buyer. And we were getting ready to go on vacation towards the end of the summer. So this happened in like February, 10 years ago. And 3 people in one day said to me, I think you should buy Fortino's.
The rule of 3.
And the first one I was like, yeah, okay. And the second one, okay, thanks. I appreciate it. And the third one, I was like, okay, I get the picture,
right.
Thank you, Lord. I've got it. So I called the realtor and said, okay, let's well, first I talked to Eric and we thought about it while we were on vacation and came home and said, let's give this another go and let's figure it out. And we did. And it's been quite a journey. It's a very good complement to what I do ice cream wise. It's an institution, so it's kind of like the Secretariat line, just, don't fall off the horse kind of thing. They gave me a really great model, and I'm a growth mindset. Speaking of positivity, I am always, the glass is more than half full. There's always an opportunity and always a way to figure things out. And we have grown this 100-year-old store, and me bringing baskets over, for instance, was a big thing at Christmas time. And my experience in ice cream and handling lines and figuring out processes has given us the opportunity to move people through that store. So it's been a really fun experience. We were able to remodel. The building was older, and the apartments upstairs needed a lot of work. So we were able to remodel upstairs and turn those from 4 apartments to 2 Airbnb condos, and that's been very successful. And it's paying the mortgage, which is half the battle. And so I would definitely do it again.
I think it was such a huge jump, right? So you're buying the business, you're buying the building, you're buying condos upstairs that need to be renovated. I understand why it would be, this is more than just go leasing another space and trying. And you're trying, I watched some of the feedback and things that, well, they changed this or that happened, or, now this is happening. And some of it, of course, is positive, and some of it is like negative. And I never saw anything other than an amplification of what was already there.
It made Margie grumpy, oh my gosh, you're changing things. She was like, so I've been in business, for 30 or 40 years. You don't think I ever changed anything?
Right.
I added candy. I added chocolates. So she was actually my biggest supporter through the process.
Yeah.
That family has been nothing but the biggest cheerleaders for that store.
I love that.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know, so what they will do is you can pull any product off of the shelves, and they will they make boxes for my clients with all of my favorite things in them, and they'll pack them with peanuts on the outside at pretty much any price point.
Yep.
They'll also ship those boxes. They can do them basket style. It's just such an awesome way to just walk in and say, here's a few of the things that I know my client might really love. Can you pop those in? And then Jeremy is amazing at saying, we've got this new thing or we've got that new thing. It's our only penny candy, store still. All the kids are always in there. My sons are always in there. I love that it creates sort of this downtown quick shop, right? If you need to grab a quick present, or if you need a snack, or you sell all of my favorite things for drinks that are not a Diet Coke. I know that's your favorite.
I have one right here on the ground.
I know, but I love that there's like San Pellegrino in there.
Yeah,
and there's all these specialty
the energy
things.
drinks, and we take care of all the restaurant workers downtown. The biggest change for me working downtown has been my participation in town.
Yeah.
I used to be very active with the chamber. I served on the board and went through all of that, and the foundation board and all of those things with the chamber. And I always kind of thought the downtown would take care of itself. And there's been some big changes in people and politics, and they asked me to step up a couple of years ago, and I said I would. And actually, I just got nominated for our exec committee yesterday, and I'm excited about the opportunity to help bring people together still. Lynn Nagin and Sharon Beam and Melita, and we've tried it's that whole same mindset of what kind of things can we do to help our town on the shoulder season, and what's good for me is good for everyone. If I can continue to bring people downtown, they'll stop at Matt Kite and go to Down to Earth, and we do videos every Thursday, and that sense of community and helping each other out has been, and how it affects ice cream too, because what's good for downtown is good for ice cream as well.
Well, and every time, this has been my favorite thing about you is, first of all, you engaged with me immediately, and you were so kind and so supportive, and like, what are you doing, and how does that work, and what's this bee event, and we sat on multiple boards together, and you're involved in things that I'm not involved in. I will tell you the one time that, and it'll be amazing if I can not cry, but there was a woman that we helped at the Bee event, and we got her all set up, and then her apartment with her 3 children caught on fire. And I called you while I was standing there with the fire trucks because we needed some place to put her for a hot minute, was my plan. And just try to get her and her children safe because everything was destroyed. And not only did you say, yes, it'll be available, my condo upstairs will be available on XYZ date, you leased that to her pro bono for free for months and months and months while she rebuilt her life. And I will never forget standing there in such a sense of urgency, and immediately you jumped in. I want to know, where does that come from? Is that the way you were raised? Where does that come from?
Comes from my grandpa. Yeah, and so that's my mom's dad, and my parents have lived that way too. Whenever I would see him, these relationships with you, the people you have ahead of you, it's amazing how you can pay it forward for them. He would call it a jump start. He'd give you $100 and be it at the casino or wherever it was, and it was a jump start. When I was on the Spring Lake Schools Foundation board, we were able to get our foundation. We insanely raised money, and we did a really great job of being able to institute some new curriculums, and so we had some extra money, and I said, let's start a Jump Start program, and nobody knew why I said that, but it was for like little grants for teachers to try something to see if it would work. And we have been given so much, and this community gives so much and is so supportive of my family and our businesses. I really feel like it's my job, as much as my regular job is, to give as much back as I can. And that one was something actually I've never talked about publicly, because that's the kind of stuff that you just do when you have the opportunity. And the condo was vacant, and to be able to tell her she wanted to pay rent, and I told her no, I wanted her to keep that so she had a down payment so she could turn her life around, and get those steps ahead. So because that's what my grandpa would have done.
In like a hot minute too, because we loaded, women showed up all over the place. One woman very specifically, who does not want to be mentioned, wrote a check for $5,000 so that we could get her first and last month's rent. We could load this entire apartment, and then she lived there for 6-7 months, and everything was great. And then to watch it all burn, like literally burn. And I was standing there in the night, freezing, and immediately I always say, so Tabitha, Dr. Tabitha, who's, our friend, always says, well, God told me. And I'm like, I don't think God tells me stuff. And she's like, no, the Holy Spirit tells you what to do, and then you move and
then you move everyone behind you, and it just
100%. And here I'm like, could you just do this thing for me for a week so that I can go and figure it out? And then boom, you figured it out. And not only did you figure it out, but you figured it out in such a way that put us all the way back to baseline, and then above. And then it did all work out. She's getting married, and like just a million fantastic things are happening.
She goes to my church too, so it's been really fun to watch her. And she's a really good cook. She likes to pay people back with food.
I know. The egg roll situation is so real. It's so good. And nobody is ever going to be able to feed my people in that way. So I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. That's not why I did it.
I know.
And Eric's like that too. We're a very good team in being able to solve problems and figure stuff out. And we're very good for each other that way.
Yeah. What is the biggest challenge in running multiple businesses and doing all of these things at the same time?
That's a really great question, and there are a lot of ways to answer that. Certainly, help is always a challenge, reliable help in making sure my employees are where they're supposed to be and doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm very lucky to have some pretty great employees. You have to be good at delegation and letting things go. I can't do everything anymore, and it still drives me a little crazy. They like to laugh at me because I'm picky about some things and I don't care about others, and they can't guess correctly. Like, right, which things do I care about?
Right.
Like, I do care that that bow is exactly that right way, or that card is on that gift the correct way, or presentation is a lot to me, and customer service and all of those kind of things. So I had to learn about 10 years ago also how to balance my life. And until you walk into the door and you have to be able to stay married is a conscious decision too. And what does my family need and what does my daughter need? And that has to be first.
Well, it looks beautiful from the outside. I know on the inside, when I see your car 14 times in a day and I'm like, oh, there goes Kelly. Oh, there goes Kelly. Oh, there goes Kelly. And we both have the vanity plates, so we can't really cut anybody off. Or
even though I probably still do. I still get honked at every once in a while.
I love that. What is, I mean, are we done now, or are we going to continue to expand and grow, or do you not know and you just wait for that nudge? Or
I'm lucky to have opportunities because people like multiple stores. And so if an ice cream store wants to go out of business, sometimes I'm asked. And sometimes that communication works and sometimes it doesn't. And it kind of depends on where I am in my life. I actually just said that to someone the other day who was looking to lose some weight. And I have done that as well. But I think you can do one thing at a time. Like I can take on one new project, or I can't. I swear I do have ADD, so I can do 100 things at a time and none of them well. But if I want to do a new project, I have to be ready for it. And it like Fortino, sometimes I have to be nudged in that right way. I've always dabbled with making my own chocolates, and I went to caramel school, and I'm going to go to chocolate school in February. And it's a dream of mine to be able to do that and to be able to supply all of my ice cream ingredients and make my own chocolates for Fortinos and Sweet Temptations.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But I don't know that I want to do that. I'm 54, and what's the runway look like for me to how much more time do I want to spend? And so I am married to this accountant as well, and so there, do I want to spend $1 million or $2 million to make a facility to be able to do that? And what's the payback of that look like? And what do the people look like to run that? So I don't know if that's something else or not too. I've had a couple ice cream stores reach out to me in the last couple of years, and I've said no to those. So it's kind of I'm not sure. I don't think you can have a growth mindset and stay still.
No, I don't think you can either. I also think that in some ways, a long time ago, somebody said to me, you can have everything you want, but not all at once. Her name was Kay Bush. She's a lovely woman. And I think about that. Like, I don't know that I get balance in a day very often. Sometimes I kill it as a wife or as a broker or as a mom, or my health and wellness is on point. So I'm always looking at it like, how do I get balance over a lifetime?
Yes.
How do I look at it and go, okay, well done at the end, instead of, wow, I really fell apart here, here, and here. And that has allowed me to just say, give myself the grace that we would give everybody else, I think. But I've watched your trajectory, and I have to say, you mentioned multiple women that are downtown, and that 9 years that are between us or whatever, my biggest gratitude is you have always been collaborative. You have always jumped in. You have always said, hey, did you think about it like this? Or here's an idea, or we're doing this, or I'm just so grateful to have so many amazing examples of how to be a mentor and watching you on boards. And if you guys don't know, I mean, every time that this woman is teaching little kids how to make ice cream, doing field trips inside of her stores, delivering ice cream when events fall apart. I don't remember where I was, but somebody like couldn't deliver dessert. And the next thing you know, boom, there's an entire cooler of ice cream and we're all eating ice cream. She's everywhere. And so when I get fed these ads for non-local businesses that will box something up and send it out, every time I'm like, nope, I'm going to go to Jeremy and we're going to figure this out. So pour into the local community as she's poured into the local community. It's amazing. It really is.
Well, thank you. You are a dynamo as well, and it's nice to have that kind of energy and support around us. I think we all feed off of each other, and what's good for me is good for you, and it's great for our town.
It is. I love that. When my kids come in, when other people's kids come in, I watch your staff, especially Fortino's, just, warm up to them and like, hi, Henry, what are you looking for today? And
they know his name. I love it.
It's like the spot. Like it really is in downtown. It's like the spot where you can walk in and it's kind of Cheers-esque to me.
Exactly. They do a great job with names. I wish I was better like they are. They know everyone.
They do, and they're just there's a consistency, I think, that's there that I just really appreciate as a business owner. We don't have a product. I'm not allowed to give away houses or say I'll sell your house for, XYZ or, that kind of thing. So for me to just see how that works inside of the retail space and know the challenges on it. I worked retail all the way through high school. I did the Christmases, and I know people are grumpy, and I know kids call in, and people end up making – changing their shifts up and doing all of those things. And you just seem to handle it with such grace and joy.
I love this time of year. I think you have to not go crazy.
Yeah, you probably do.
Yes, you have to love it. And then I love it when it's over.
And I love it when it's over. I love it when it's woosah, take the tree down.
Exactly. Let's go on vacation. So we have 10 or 11 more days to go. I haven't even counted. 12 days because we started our 12-day sale today at Sweet.
Yeah.
So I know it's 12 days of Christmas, and you know what? We're going to sprint till the end, and we've built the mountain. I'm ready for it to come. So it's amazing how bottom heavy the year is, but it's just a really fun ride. So.
Well, and for anybody who, I don't know when this particular podcast will come out, but if you didn't do it, there is a lot of research about delivering a gift in January or a Valentine's Day gift instead of delivering your favorite client or a thank you, because so many things are coming here. So if you don't get a chance.
I do a heart, you're the heart of my business, thank you, at Valentine's Day for my corporate customers.
Oh, I love that. That's a fantastic idea.
And Thanksgiving, I'm very thankful for you instead of Christmas. Yeah, it's nice to be different than everyone else.
Yeah, well, and I feel inundated sometimes with all of this stuff at Christmas.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So think about that. If you didn't get a chance to get your orders in, like myself, I have to call Jeremy today and do a couple more things there. I'm the queen of this.
We can take you.
Every year. And also, think about the Valentine's Day thing or the other things that you could be doing that are special because you do a beautiful job at it.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming, my sweet friend. And take an example from Kelly if you have an opportunity to lean forward and mentor somebody or help shorten their curve inside of the leaning or the learning that we all do as entrepreneurs, as businesses. It's just been so valuable in my life to watch people who will just lend a hand in support of whatever it is that you're doing. And I think sometimes people don't jump in because they feel like, am I relevant, or her business isn't the same as mine? But that support has meant everything, especially, she's a hometown hero and I'm a transplant, and it never mattered. There was always room. So I'm Meghan Heritage. This is Positivity in Practice with Kelly Larson. Go to Fortino's, get yourself some treats, and we'll see you next time. We hope that you enjoyed today's podcast. If you're like me and you're looking for positivity in practice, please like, follow, or subscribe to find more people who are being positive.